Thank you. Run the roll, please.
Hill,
Yes.
Hermson,
Yes.
Schweitzer,
Yes.
Engen,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Holland.
Yes.
Need a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Engen,
Second?
second by Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no public comment this evening. We're going to move on to the next item. Now, before I go into this, on the accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following, I'm going to ask you to approve the consent agenda as this. Item 1, 2, and 4. I'm going to remove 3. I'm going to come back to it after we approve or disapprove the consent agenda. Everybody with me?
Yep.
Okay. Item 1, the minutes of the February 11, 2013 regular meeting. Item 2, the Independence Volunteer Fire Department Finance Report for January. Item 4, home occupation permit renewals for March.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Hill, second by Holland. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Going back to item 3, Majestic Bar, Grill, Glass C, liquor license renewal, including Sunday sales, March 4th, 2013 through March 3rd, 2014. We've had some controversy on this issue. We've had some letters in your packet from the chief. We've done this in the past, and my recommendation is that we renew their license with a 6-month review as we have done in the past. Discussion.
Does anybody have any questions for myself concerning the letter which I forwarded to the city manager? Say on 2 occasions, we had incidents at Majestic, and on both those occasions, officers were initially led to believe it was a medical problem, only to learn later that there was an assault that had taken place.
Randy, could you speak a little louder?
Certainly.
I'm
And
getting
that-
older by the minute.
Well, that makes 2 of us, Dick, let me tell you. And that's my concern. My concern is that upon response, officers are not receiving cooperation there to conduct a proper investigation into a criminal act. And I feel it's a licensee's responsibility that if there is criminal activity on their premises, that they would certainly want that to be stopped, and they wouldn't want that to continue. And obviously, that to cooperate with investigating officers is the way to go. Now, I did listen to the recorder. I believe in the letter that I sent you, said the second call was a medical call. That is the way the call initially came in, requesting an ambulance, and that is the way in which it's noted on the sheriff's office log. I took it upon myself to listen to the recording on the second event on February 3rd. And during the recording, I will give credit to the bartender that night, Stacy Main. She did identify that there was a bar fight. She did request not to send 100 officers like the previous occasion, which is fine. I wish I had 100 officers. But in any event, she did identify it as a bar fight. However, officers were still not, upon responding, still did not receive cooperation.
You said there was
For the
no medical
investigation.
emergency, Randy?
Yes, there was.
Oh, I thought you just said there wasn't.
No, there was. It was reported initially as a medical,
Yeah.
but when you typically call in a medical, you're talking about somebody who's having a medical occasion or a medical event, rather than an assault or something, some kind of criminal activity.
Well, it said
Okay.
here, in your letter, it says Mr. Heinen was obviously injured.
Yes.
On both occasions.
Yes,
But
That's
you
correct.
didn't- there was no ambulance or no medical help there the first time, was there? On the 16th.
on the 16th. No, in fact, they refused an ambulance. They said they would not, they did not want an ambulance to respond. But they did later go to the hospital for treatment.
Randy, did you listen to the first 911 call?
No, I did not. I did not. I listened to the second one because there was some question on there exactly what the verbiage was between the bartender and the dispatcher.
Okay.
Okay.
Why I'm
That's
asking
all.
is the first 911 call did not come from the bar.
Okay, I don't know.
You need to listen to it. We all need to listen to it.
All right. Okay.
Was that a head injury? He was injured?
On the 2nd, on
No,
February
either
3rd?
time, either.
February 3rd, it was reported as an injured eye socket.
That
the
was
way
on
it
the
was.
second time.
That's correct.
There was an ambulance that time, correct?
Pardon?
There was an ambulance at that particular time, correct?
Mm,
Second time?
The second time? I'd have to go back and check, Danny, to be certain. I'd have to go back and check.
But the first time, there was not a head injury.
My understanding, there was a head injury, yes. Yes.
Just to be on the safe side, wouldn't you thought it would've been prudent for the officer to get an ambulance or?
Well, if an ambulance
If it
is
was a head injury?
if an ambulance is summoned, the individual always has the right to refuse treatment, regardless. So for an officer to summon which they were told at the time, don't want an ambulance, no ambulance is needed, we don't want one. For an officer to do that and then have the ambulance come and still treatment is refused at that point in time, that is the option. They can do that. Which doesn't promote a good relationship between us and the hospital when we're calling out ambulances and people are refusing treatment. And we know that they're probably gonna refuse that treatment.
Has there been more problems at this establishment than at other ones?
No, I wouldn't say so. It was just on these two occasions in which there just wasn't the cooperation that I would expect from a liquor licensee.
And wasn't there a year ago, a 30-day suspension? The sale of?
I don't think we can consider that one because a year ago, Chief Miller stood here and told us that there were no issues or problems. So the past is the past. We need to deal with what's in front of us right now.
So I mean, you can't take the license away forever. What is your timeline here? What do you want besides not approving it tonight?
Well, if it's not approved, it's just a report forward to the liquor division, the Iowa State Liquor Division. It's entirely up to them. I don't have any authority to keep a license away from anybody. That is, the council can approve or disapprove. That's your prerogative. That's not my prerogative. And the Iowa Division of Liquor in Des Moines has the authority to either continue a licensee, a valid license, or not. That's entirely up to them. I can only make a recommendation. That's all I can do.
So you're saying that if the city council does not approve this tonight, they can still go to the liquor board and get their license?
Certainly, certainly, if they would approve it. They would
What is the
approve it.
likelihood of them approving it if the city council doesn't?
Very doubtful.
What do you do in cases of other bars when there's a fight and the police don't even get called on those, but there's injury?
Well, if we're not made aware of those situations, if not aware of them, there's not a whole lot we can do. If it's not reported to us and we have no knowledge of it. In the events where we do get called for whether it be a bar fight or another instance within the confines itself,